Hello, and welcome to another video where Shayna rants about books. I'm Shayna. I'm gonna rant about books. At least this time, it's going to be about books that I love instead of about books that I have extremely complicated feelings about. Today, I'm going to go over my favorite reads since 2020. Originally, I was gonna call this pandemic reads, except for at this point, I'm not sure the pandemic's ever going to end. They're just my favorite reads in the last 2 years. I don't have a particular order for this list, except for basically the order that came into my head, except for number 1, Unnatural Magic. I have talked about this book a lot. I love this book. Everyone should read this book. I know. Internet bylaws say that you should start with number 5 and work down to number 1. But in case you click away from this video really quickly, I need you to know about Unnatural Magic. It is such a good book. I actually bought it as a book to read on my honeymoon, and I would be down at the bed and breakfast, eating breakfast, reading this book, and the people at other tables were noticing how much I loved this book and were taking pictures of it to make sure that they remembered to read it themselves or buy it for their children. I don't know. It is such a good book. We follow 3 main characters. Ona, who is a woman who wants to be a wizard or a magic user. I actually forget the exact turn of phrase in this world, but in this world, this particular school that she wants to go to, only men are allowed. So what does she do? The other main character is Sierra. She is a half troll. Trolls in this universe are the most intelligent, the most scientifically advanced. She's the one who makes people wash their hands before they eat. And I love her, and she's the best character, and I want nothing but happiness for her, okay? And then Jekram is a soldier. I would go so far as to say that he's openly pansexual. Sexuality in this world doesn't seem to matter that much. I believe it's told from third person limited, but just the way that the narration changes as you go into each character's point of view, the way that their thoughts just make perfect sense. Even miscommunications, which in most books I'd be oh, this is so frustrating. It just works because of how well these characters are set up. I love it. I love it so much. Please buy this book. I need to talk about it with more people. There's kind of a murder mystery, but mostly it's just let's explore this wonderful world and these wonderful characters that we love. And it's amazing. Everyone that I've recommended this book to has loved it. You will too. Trust me. Come back here and comment when you do, okay? Next up, Agatha Christie's Death on the Nile. Not the movie. For those of you who don't follow my Instagram, I went on a bit of an Agatha Christie kick during the pandemic. I read, I think, 15 of her books. I was about to say by far Death on the Nile wins. That's a bit. Death on the Nile wins, but is also tied with the murder of Roger Ackroyd. This one was a huge surprise to me in terms of how good it was. I guess it's better. I think it's better. Anyway, this was my favorite one. If you like Murder on the Orient Express, it feels to me like Agatha Christie took everything that she learned from that book and everything that everyone loved about that book, and she just bumped it up to 11 with Death on the Nile. We're not talking about the movie here, by the way. I read this book to prepare for the movie, and then the book was incredible, and then the movie was not. I might do a whole separate video comparing why the book is great and what the movie left behind. Because it's not just changes. Book adaptations aren't just bad because they change things. I understand the mediums are different. Okay, I'm getting off track. What's great about the book? First of all, every character feels so real and fleshed out, and they have this complicated story and motivations, and Poirot, the detective, needs to figure that out. And I loved that. The way that the murderer's plot sort of wove into all these sort of circumstantial other plots, but that all make complete and total sense. I also just think that the characters, the 3 leads that in the beginning of the book, Agatha Christie in her author's note say felt real to her because she had met people like them. The way she wrote them, I completely agree. Their motivations are fascinating. I don't know. It was great. And that's one of the things that they lost from the movie. But anyway, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I do love the ending. I think it is pretty perfect. So yeah, if you want to know what's great about Agatha Christie, read Death on the Nile. Up next is The Princess Bride. Now, of course, we all at least know of the movie, even if we haven't watched it. I watched The Princess Bride so many times when I was a kid. So when I saw this book in a used bookstore, I had to get it. I had to read it. And I zoomed through this thing. It is amazing seeing where my favorite scenes from the movie came from. Okay, the Miracle Max scene where Max goes, "Back witch," and she goes, "I'm not a witch, I'm your wife, and after what you just said, I don't even think I want to be that anymore." They explain the witch thing, it seems like just a joke, but there's actually an explanation for it in the book, and it's so funny. I think it's probably because the author actually adapted the movie, which is why the movie stays so true to the book. It's so much fun. What's really interesting is, I almost want to say the genre. The movie sort of plays the fantasy trope really straight, which is why they make Wesley and Buttercup like so much more sympathetic and, I don't know, fun. Robin Wright, if she hadn't been Buttercup, I don't know how this movie would have ever been received. Because in this book, Wesley and Buttercup are kind of like plays off of like the stereotypical like damsel in distress and like fantasy hero. So they're annoying as heck, but like intentionally, because this book is a parody. It's a parody of fantasy. It's a parody of like Tolkien-esque super long text. It's really good. It was really fun. I kind of felt like I was back in high school, like, you know, meta-analyzing something while reading it again. It was a great time. Next up is A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. This was actually a holiday gift from my sister-in-law. Apparently her book group read it, and as soon as she read it, she was like, oh, Shayna needs to read this. I actually read this book really early this year, and it is just such a fun time. The magic systems are like, if you know the Tamora Pierce, the Circle of Magic series, where it's like, oh, people have magic with plants, people have magic with weaving. This is like that, but taken to a weird level. It's like, this person has magic with horses, down to like having necromancy relationships with horses. This character has juggling magic. The main character in this book has magic with baking. So she brings gingerbread to life, and also like, you know, she forms like dough animals. And it's a really, really interesting world. It's a lot of fun. It's not perfect. It does sort of play with like, is it middle grade? Is it young adult? Is it like darker and gorier than young adult? It's a fun book. It's a whimsical book. Honestly, it feels like something I would write. Like, it feels like it belongs in a Tales of Mundane Magic book. So, you know, I'd say that's a pretty big compliment. It seems like it's a bit of a smaller publisher or a smaller artist, so I definitely recommend supporting them and checking them out. Next up, Circe. I am a huge fan of Greek mythology, you know, because I'm bisexual, so I was really into mythology in middle school. So something like 4 years ago when I was visiting my parents, I saw this book on my mom's bookshelf and I was like, oh, can I have that? Because, you know, Circe, I recognize the name. My mom was like, sure, you can borrow it. I haven't given it back yet. I don't think I'm going to. I love retellings, especially, I would call this a feminist adaptation. There is some sort of like not like other girls stuff, and it definitely depends on your interpretation of that. I kind of feel like the intention there was the idea of gods and the immortal people are very like locked into shallow beings, and mortals are the complicated ones. That's just the vibe that I'm sort of getting the more I think about it. Circe will say that the nymphs are very empty-headed sort of thing. I really wish that we could prove the point by having Circe meet more mortal women, because she meets so many men that I'm like, come on. And I know it has to do that because it's an adaptation of Greek mythology, which isn't exactly super feminist. So I don't know. If you're not able to handle it, like, I completely understand there. All the myths that it covers, the character arcs, the like little bits of knowledge that Circe sort of collects as she goes. I don't know. It's one of those books that made me cry. I think if you're someone who always felt like a bit of an outsider until you kind of grew up and found your space, I think this book is going to resonate with you. Last book. Ready? Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna Maguire. This was pretty much the first book that I read in quarantine. It made me cry. This was a moving away gift. So it was like the first book that I read in quarantine because we moved and lockdown happened like essentially during our move. It's a beautiful book. I once said that it broke me in that like it felt like it reinvigorated, I would say, a lot of just like hurt that I'd been holding, and then also kind of like healed it. It's a really sweet book. Essentially, the concept is, you know, kids who fall into other worlds like Alice in Wonderland or the Pensieve kids from the Narnia books. What happens to them when they go back to the real world? Like, how do they adjust to that, essentially? Eleanor West is now an adult, but she was one of those kids, and so she has founded a sort of boarding school for kids who are having trouble adjusting to that. She comes up with like a system to describe the different worlds that you can fall into and things like that. It's lovely. It's beautiful. It's kind of a murder mystery. I know that there are sequels. I want to read them. I really recommend this book. It makes you feel things. And really, in the world we live in right now, isn't that what we want from a read? So those were my favorite reads of 2022. Affiliate links for all these books will be down below. I get a little bit of a kickback because I'm the one who recommended it to you, but it doesn't cost you anything to buy books through those links. If you do end up reading them, even from your local library, please do let me know. I am so excited when people like my recommendations. And like I said, everyone has liked Unnatural Magic so far, so give that one a read. So what have your favorite reads been during these last few years? Make sure to let me know in the comments down below, and to like this video and to subscribe for more reading content. And until next time, cheers!